Yeah, man. I mean, we're just getting into the banter hour, but before we do, ladies and gentlemen, we have a weekly bowl of macaroni to put right inside your noodle to give you some great security tips for transacting and thriving in our own ecosystem. So, without further ado, would like to welcome, on behalf of all friends of Cardano over coffee, none other than the holy Macaroni.
That was great. Thanks, Nudes. So welcome to the bowl of macaroni. This is Holy Macaroni. Today I'm going to talk to you about spotting unsafe websites. I'm going to go through three different categories here, and I would just want to make a disclaimer: if there is a site or a tool that I don't mention, just understand that there are plenty of other things out there to do. These are just some suggestions I want to point you to for spotting unsafe websites. So the first category, checking if websites are potentially safe or safe or potentially malicious. The first one would be VirusTotal. VirusTotal is very widely used in the security community, and it's a great tool. It's a great site for checking files, URLs, domains, IPs, etc. The next one I would suggest is Google Transparency. So transparencyreport.google.com. They have a safe browsing sub-site of Transparency Report, and you can also check websites there as well. These tools, especially VirusTotal, uses multiple databases from many different security vendors and some other technology to identify websites if they are safe or not to use, or files or domains, URLs, etc. So that's the first two suggestions I'll give you. The next category of these suggestions are security vendors themselves. A lot of people don't realize that while security vendors do charge a lot of money for their security solutions, typically they have websites out there that are free and publicly accessible to check their databases for websites and whether they are potentially malicious or safe to use. Just as two examples, Securi. So Securi is a security vendor. They have sitecheck.securi.net. McAfee as well, sitelookup.mcafee.com. But most major security vendors out there do have an option. So if you have a preferred security tool that you use at home, you might be able to check that vendor's website, and they probably have a free option there for you to check. Now, the third area I'll mention in this category is checking random websites. The one I might mention is urlvoid.com. And why do I mention these? While they are reasonable options to use, I honestly would suggest to use something else that I've already mentioned. The reason being is then you also have to check those random websites if they are safe as well before you begin to use those to check if other websites are safe. So be very cautious when you're Googling random websites to check website safety. Use security vendors, use some of the suggestions I mentioned like VirusTotal or Google, etc. Now, the next thing I'll mention is MX Toolbox. Now, if you want to go a little bit further, MX Toolbox is a wonderful website that is basically a conglomerate of everything I've mentioned and everything I will mention. You can check all sorts of things. You can even check what your own IP is, or you can look up email headers or website stuff or block lists, or I mean, there are dozens and dozens of tools on MX Toolbox. So if you're into checking out new things, I'd really suggest checking that out. So the next section I'll mention is checking the actual website details and information themselves. So the two I'll mention, again, there are others, but the two most popular arguably are who.is and lookup.icann.org. That is ICANN. Through these two websites, you can look up a domain or website or URL and find out some information about them. Typically, most of the information is redacted for privacy reasons, right? I don't want you having my full name, phone number, and home address. But you can find some information out, such as where that domain or that website was registered. Okay, so that is a very important thing, and you'll find out why in this next category. So the next category is reporting websites. So not only can you check if websites and emails and things like that are safe for you to use or interact with, you can also report them. So two websites I'll mention right off the bat are, again, Google has on their safe browsing section, they have a report phishing section. You could go to the Google reporting, safebrowsing.google.com, and you can report websites there as well. Now, I'll also mention you can go directly to the registrar. That's why the previous section I mentioned is important with who.is and icann.org, because if you go there, you get the registrar's information, where that website was registered. You can then go to the actual registrar, Some examples. A popular common one is GoDaddy. You also have Google Domains, and then one I was researching before was One API, which I believe is a European registrar. But basically, you take where that website was registered. You go to the registrar and you can report them directly to the registrar, and they will actually investigate that. I did that one time with a scam website, midnight-swap.io, and within a matter of minutes, they had researched it and brought it down. Now, taking it a step further, if you want to be more official, you can actually go to official reporting agencies, government agencies, for example. So the two I'll recommend or suggest are ic3.gov and CISA.gov. These are just good options if you want to go to official reporting websites. If you think if the website is extremely malicious or something like that, you can report it there. Some additional things I'll mention. There's another website, not government related, but there's one called abuseipdb.com. You can go there and also report domains. You can do two things here. You can look up domains and you can also report them there. The last thing I'll mention is just kind of a bonus is email header analyzers. I think it's also important to, while you have spam filters and things like that, you'll also want to start understanding more about how your emails are working. I'm getting a little over time, so I'll just mention the two websites. You're welcome to reach out to me if you need some help with them. But the first one I'd recommend is toolbox.googleapps.com and then appsource.microsoft.com. So Microsoft and Google both have an email header analyzer. So if you just look those up, put in the header of your email, and you can start seeing kind of what it looks like. Again, I don't have enough time to dig into that, but I'm happy to help you on the side. And I think that should be it for today.
Hell yeah, Holy Macaroni. That's what we get right here on Cardano Over Coffee. In Cardano, there's Taco Tuesdays. And on Fridays, ladies and gentlemen, serving up a big fat bowl of macaroni right here.